Hello and welcome to the business interview. I'm Markus Karlsson. Change is on the cards in China. A new generation of leaders are taking over the reins of the world's second biggest economy. The once-in-a-decade event is taking place during the Communist Party's Congress in Beijing. The changing of the guards comes at a delicate time for China and the global economy. Joining us from Beijing to analyze the wider implications is journalist and writer Li Jiashang. She wrote the book Socialism is Great, an account of what it was like to grow up in China in the 1980s. Welcome to the program, first of all.
Thank you.
Let me ask you this first up about the leadership change. Do you think that ordinary Chinese, do they care about it and are they excited?
Care, maybe yes. Excited, probably not. Most people are not excited. In the past few days, I have conducted my own interview and asked people, what do you think about the 18th Party Congress? People say, I don't care. Nothing to do with me. We do not elect the leaders, and we don't know, we cannot decide what kind of policy we have. So I think, that's many people's attitude. But if you walk around the city, you will see everywhere there are gold and red slogans saying, joyfully celebrating the opening of 18th Party Congress.
Now, Xi Jinping, he's widely seen as the man who will become the next president, and Li Keqiang is seen as the next prime minister in China. What do we actually know about these two people? What do we know of their economic policies, for instance?
Well, so far we don't know very much about them, and to tell you honestly, that's what many older people say. We don't know how they are elected. There are obviously lots of backroom politics, and people say that they are chosen by the current leader, President Hu Jintao, and also the former President Jiang Zemin. So we don't exactly know what kind of policies they will have, if they are market-oriented or they pro-reform. So lots of things that we do not know.
Are they seen as reformers, though? Because there's a lot of talk about how China needs to change its economic model, that China needs to turn away from foreign investment and exports in order to focus more on domestic consumption and on domestic growth. As I say, are they reform-minded people?
I think China's social economic conflicts have reached almost a tipping point. So there's a really urgent need to conduct reform. But real reforms, genuine reforms, we need both political reform and economic reform. But genuine reforms always takes courage. So whether the new leaders will do that, we do not exactly know. If I can recall 10 years ago when Hu Jintao, the China's Communist Party's youngest ruler, youngest ruler took over power, I remember we were so excited. This young man with jet black hair, but he has been quite cautious. So although in the past year China has achieved great economic achievement, China has become the #2 largest economy in the world, overtaken Japan. But we haven't actually conducted the genuine reforms. I think the new leaders, they are selected not only because their ability, because they have connection, but also they have proved their loyalty to the party. So there are some concern these people, especially some of the colleagues, I believe, to be conservative. So whether they will probably put the party's interest before the country's interest.
Now, you spoke there about the outgoing president, Hu Jintao. He has called on the Communist Party to do more to deal with corruption. Do you think that the new leadership will heed those calls? Is that likely?
I think they will have to, and particularly this year, I'm sure you've heard that the dramatic downfall of Chongqing's party boss Bo Xilai, he was expected to get into the Politburo. So there was, after his after he was disgraced, there was, articles, truths come out, and how his family accumulated millions and millions. So this is one example. There were other high-profile cases. So corruption is certainly something we really have to deal with. That's something everybody hates it. But also, I have to say, corruption, because it's just it just become a part of the life. It's something everybody's part of it.
Tell us a little bit more of how ordinary Chinese feel and how they see corruption in everyday life.
Chinese, I think lots of expectation that leaders would deal with the corruption. But as I said, everybody's also part of it. You want to get anything done. This afternoon I was having a lunch with a friend of mine. He's a salesperson. He said each sales, to bid to from beginning to end. Every move you just have to corrupt the right people. So corruption is just really, really bad.
Now, as you've been saying, we've seen an explosion of economic growth in China just in the past 10 years or so. Do ordinary people in China, do they feel that, though? Have they seen their quality of living come up?
Recently, there was a survey conducted by Pew that 70% of the Chinese people believe their lives are better. Their incomes improved greatly, but the pressure also have increased. Before, for example, I worked for a state-owned enterprise. I have stable income. After I retire, I knew I would be looked after. I had a medical care. So all these things. But the incomes increased, but the pressure has also increased. The social security also decreased. So, for example, housing is so expensive. So I wouldn't say life are getting much better, especially for some people are well connected, rich, successful people. But for ordinary people, lives are quite hard.
Now, you yourself, you've called for an end to China's low-cost advantage. That means that workers' wages should increase. Do you think that's going to happen? And what kind of time frame are we looking at here if indeed that were to happen?
I think certainly. I think for the moment, one of China's advantage is low-cost labor, and especially labor-intensive. But the things are changing. The young generation of migrant workers, many of them are factory workers, they are demanding high pay. So I think the advantage of low cost is over. So they have to. And I understand that some foreign companies are already shifting their operation to other countries, Vietnam, Bangladesh, India, or whatever. So I think China is also trying to restructure the economic structure. For example, shifting from the traditional investment-driven to consumption-driven. China needs to spend more, and one of the reasons Chinese people are cautious in spending, one of the reasons is that the social security net is quite low.
Now, here in Europe, there's a lot of debate about competitiveness. There are a lot of concerns that the Eurozone has lost competitiveness. Is there that kind of nervosity in China as well? Are there concerns that China could lose its competitive edge?
No, I don't so. I don't think so. But if China loses a competitive edge in this way, that will take quite a while. It will take time. The Chinese people are really industrial, very hardworking. Many of them are strivers, are been traveling around the world, and it never amazed me how Chinese people's desire to better their lives. And because we are facing plenty of challenges, from domestic challenges, also international challenges. As you know, that we have our territorial disputes with our neighbors, with Diaoyu Island, with Philippines, with South Korea. So China still, facing lots of changes, and now all eyes are focused on the new leaders. If they will, lead China into the right direction.
Now, the 18th Party Congress is now underway. In the longest term, do you think that the Chinese Communist Party will be able to maintain its grip on power?
I think the Chinese Communist Party so far has defined or the prediction is going to collapse. And I think the Chinese Communist Party has been more flexible or adaptable than many people give them credit for. For example, under Jiang Zemin, under Jiang Zemin, he introduced a new rule that not just only in the workers, but also business people, they could join the party. So I think you know what happened in 1989 is still a taboo now, but they have learned a big lesson. You know, that democracy movement happened for many reasons. One of them was a lot of ordinary people felt they were not happy with their lives. Now, you know, China has today, Chinese people now enjoy so much more personal freedom and plenty of opportunities of making money.
All right.
So I think that the Chinese Communist Party has proved to be very adaptable.
All right.
But I'm not sure they will last forever either.
We're going to have to wait and see. Li Jiashang, thanks very much indeed for taking the time to speak to us. Li Jiashang, a writer and journalist there in Beijing. Thanks very much indeed for taking the time to speak to us. And with that, we're going to wrap up the program as well. Thanks for watching the business interview. Don't forget, you can get in touch with any comments or suggestions for the show. You got my Twitter handle at the bottom of your screen, Markus F24. Do stay with us. We have more news coming up on France 24.